The Penn State Nittany Lions have the longest odds to win the college football playoff national championship. Despite that, though, they can win it all. And I think that Penn State is underestimated. And therefore, I want to discuss an opinion of mine that maybe is bold, but I think is justified. I think that Penn State, as in Nittany Lion Nation, not the locker room. The locker room has to stay humble. The locker room has to focus on what James Franklin always says as being 1-0. They have to focus on what's in front of them. The fan base, I think, and maybe privately or maybe in the back of their minds, the team too, should expect to win it all. Not that the season's a failure if Penn State doesn't win it all. But I think that after going so long without winning a big game, without beating Ohio State, without winning the Big Ten, never reaching the college football playoff, the 4-team version under Franklin, I believe the Nittany Lions should expect to win it all. They should want that because they can. They can win it all. And before I tell you some reasons why I think the expectation should be set and why I think they can win it all, if you haven't already, like the show, like the video, share the channel around, subscribe to the channel to help us get to 30,000 subscribers, hit the notification bell so that you can get notified when we go live Mondays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and also so that we go live for the Orange Bowl and Cotton Bowl to do play-by-play and color commentary and announce the winners of our giveaway. You'll get notified when that happens. And if you want to enter our giveaway, winners will be announced halftime of the Orange Bowl and Cotton Bowl. Just comment your thoughts down below, or comment down below and you'll enter the giveaway. And if you want to support the channel, it's appreciated, not expected, but if you want to, the links to the Patreon page and merchandise store are in the description and pinned comment. And join our Discord server, where you get to interact with me and my college football fans, members of the College Football with Sam community, and the link to that's in the description or pinned comment. But why Penn State should expect to win it all is the fact that we have not seen them win anything of significance outside of maybe if you want to count the 2022 Rose Bowl, but even that I would question. It's a postseason win that is not a part of the playoffs, and while it's meaningful relative to that season, I'm talking about meaningful nationally for a long period of time, something that stamps you in college football history. Penn State has not won the Big Ten since 2016. They have not beaten a team that is top 5 in FPI since Ohio State that season in 2016. They have not won a national championship since 1986. Before that, 1982. They have not had a season before this year with more than 11 wins since 1994. Now they reached 13 this year. They're 13-2, 8-1 in Big Ten play, tied for second. They made an appearance in Indianapolis, which I think that alone was kind of a success. Won the games they were supposed to. Only lost to Ohio State by 7, which stung, but at least they didn't get blown out. And they've shown all year, I think, that they have an elite ceiling. It's a different era of football. The 12-team playoff is the reason they have 13 wins. If this was the 4-team playoff, Penn State would have made it with an opportunity at most to earn 13 wins if they won their semifinal game and won the national championship. They wouldn't have an opportunity to win 14 or 15 games, which if Penn State wins it all, they're going to be 15-2 at the end of the year. It's a different era. And this team is still closer to the 2022 or 2023 or 2019 or 17 or 16 teams in terms of achievement than it is to the average Ohio State season in the 21st century, or to the Joe Paterno teams in 1994 or 2005, where they only had one loss, or the 94 team should have played for a national championship. They were a national championship caliber team that season. I think because of how long it's been, and now Penn State's in a position to where they have a pathway. They're only a 2-point underdog to Notre Dame, and it's not like they'd be TCU in the national title where they were a 13.5-point dog to Georgia. They'd be a 7.5-point dog to Ohio State in terms of future bets, and that's a what-if right now. It's a hypothetical line. Could move closer to Penn State depending on what happens in those games, and they would be a much shorter underdog to Texas if Texas somehow pulls the upset and wins the Cotton Bowl. And again, they're not a big underdog whatsoever to Notre Dame, only a 2-point underdog. So that's, I'd say, reason number one why they should expect that. Reason number two is the players they have. Drew Aller is viewed as a future pro, would be, if he declared for the 2025 NFL draft, one of the best quarterbacks in terms of, in terms of being a pro prospect. Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton, who also are rumored to be back. Aller confirmed it, but it's rumored that both Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton will be back in 2025. They were a part of the 2022 recruiting class. Allen was a 4-star, Singleton was a 5-star, and the Penn State Gatorade Player of the Year. They have 1,000 rushing yards, and right now they are one of the best running back duos in the country. You add in Tyler Warren, who has 1,158 receiving yards and 13 total touchdowns. He's an alien player, one of the best players in the country, the best tight end in the country. And then add further on that, you have Abdul Carter, when healthy, might be the best defensive player. I think is the best defensive player in all of college football. So Penn State has the roster. And look, I admire Bud Elliott. I like him. His blue chip ratio thing is genius. It's simple. Some criticize it for being redundant. But he's mentioned, even, I've criticized it in the sense that he has, where it's not the end all be all. There might be a team in the future who's an exception to the rule, but it's kind of a general, simple rule that you have to have a very talented roster to win it all. Now, Penn State doesn't have an Ohio State blue chip ratio. They don't have an Alabama or Georgia blue chip ratio. They don't have an Oregon or Texas blue chip ratio. But I will tell you this, from watching film, from processing all the games in the college football playoff and the regular season, Penn State might be the second best team out of those teams. Seriously. Out of all those teams with a better blue chip ratio than they do, Penn State might only be worse than Ohio State, who beat him in the regular season and has looked unstoppable in the playoffs so far, which is the reason why I'm ranking them ahead of Penn State. Penn State's a good team. They have 2 alien players. They have a plethora more X-Factor players. They have a quarterback who some say could be an alien player who has that potential. That's why he was given the Josh Allen comparisons. And Penn State, analytically, is extremely impressive. I mean, we're talking about a team with the Nittany Lions that is top 10 in yards per play, an offense that Kotelnicki has resurrected this season. They score 0.503 points per play, 11th. They're top 5 in points per play margin. This team is 8th in yards per play, averaging 6.5. They average 5.3 yards per carry, 18th on the ground. They have the best rushing offense in the Big Ten and one of the best rushing defenses in the Big Ten, only allowing 3.1 yards per rush attempt, 8th, and 101 rushing yards per game, also 8th. If you factored out sack yardage, they might have the best rushing defense in the Big Ten. So this is a really good team, and really good isn't explaining Penn State's level. Penn State is an elite team relative to this season. Relative to last season, prior seasons, I don't think so. And maybe they're only near elite this year. But this is the closest in terms of proximity, which largely has to do with the playoff changes, but also in terms of straight up roster talent and performance that Penn State has ever been to a national championship. So therefore, they should expect to win one this year. I think the season is at least mostly a success, maybe a full success, or at least not a failure if they beat Notre Dame. I truly believe that. I would lean toward the season being a success if Penn State beats Notre Dame, because James Franklin finally beat a top 10, and I'd say with Notre Dame, top 5 opponent, and is playing for a national championship. But I think that, especially with it being likely that Penn State, if they do win the Orange Bowl, is going to be playing Ohio State again in a rematch, it's hard to beat a good team twice. A rematch with OSU in a neutral field, and with Notre Dame ahead of you right now in the Orange Bowl being only a 2-point favorite, Penn State should have the expectation to go out, win a national championship. Their first national championship since 1986. If they don't get it done this year, with Drew Aller returning, with Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen likely returning, and a lot of players on offense and defense coming back, I think they'll have a pretty good shot next year too, but you never want to bank on next year. You want to bank on the here and now and be invested in that. So I believe in Penn State. I think they can win it all. Does that mean I'm going to pick them? Not necessarily. I think they'll beat Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl, but I have a hard time, of course, seeing them against Ohio State in a rematch with how Ohio State's playing, beating that team. I think it can happen, but that doesn't mean I'm going to pick it. So I hope the Nittany Lions play well, play to their potential. I'm a guy who likes to see blue bloods succeed. So it's fun to see Notre Dame and Penn State both compete for a national championship spot. Hopefully the Orange Bowl is good. And I think that if Abdul Carter is healthy and Penn State, I think, coaches a good game, which is a question, but it's a possibility, they can win the Orange Bowl and perhaps win a national title. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and also hit that notification bell so that way you can get notified when new content from College Football with Sam drops. I appreciate you very much, and also share the video around to others who you know enjoy the sport of college football and love it as I do and as you do, and comment your thoughts down below so that we can have a conversation, because I want to know what you are thinking. And join our Discord server where we talk college football 24/7 via the link in the description or down below in the pinned comment. Thank you to my Heisman Patreon members, Crash2488, Brasco Rascal, and Conlo OH. Thank you to my All-American Patreon members, Chris Lane, Ismar, and Tyler Nye. And thank you to my All-Conference members, John Lynn, Roaming Gnome, Matthew Sale, Austin Christmas, Joshua Jorgensen, and Will Loftus. Make sure to check out my merchandise store and or Patreon page, or super chat down in the comment section below to support the channel. The Patreon page and merchandise store links are in the description or down below in the pinned comment. I hope you have a wonderful day. It is December, so Merry Christmas and also Happy New Year. I will see you guys soon.